Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Lounge podcast with your hosts, Liz and KT. It feels like forever since me and Liz have sat down and actually recorded an actual podcast episode together. So, really excited for us to be together. And of course, it wouldn't be us recording if we weren't talking about something deep. So, today's episode is going to be all about our values. I got this episode idea from the What We Said podcast. You guys already know that's my favorite podcast. And essentially, there's this woman named Susie Welch who created this like really in depth values quiz. I'll get more into that later, but that's going to be the theme of our episode today. And like always, we will talk about many different things before that, and it's all timestamped so you can skip around. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, make sure you are following us. And then if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, and you might as well go over to Apple and Spotify and follow us on those platforms too, because it is free. And of course, our social media is always linked down below.
Yes, like Kennedy said, it's only a click away, you guys. So I don't know what you're doing if you haven't already subscribed on all of those platforms. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into our usual segments. And first up, we have our just little life update for you guys, which me and Kennedy have a lot to update you guys on. Well, like, more not too much, but it's exciting stuff. But basically for me, as I'm recording this, it is my last weekend of flight attendant training. And when this episode goes out, I will officially, fingers crossed, if everything goes right between now and 2 days from now, I will officially have my wings. And that is just so crazy to think about. It's beyond insane how fast this whole thing has gone. I was talking to my friends, like, it's crazy it's already been 6 weeks because overall it's gone by so fast. But when I was like in the thick of each week, it went by so incredibly slow. But yeah, when this episode goes live, I will officially have my wings, and that is so exciting. So stay tuned, you guys, for all of the updates that are to come, living in Chicago, being a flight attendant, all that fun stuff. But that is just my biggest life update, and I'm in my last little thick of training. I literally have, as we're recording this, I have one more day and then graduation. And yeah, I am so excited, and it actually feels so surreal.
Yes, it's crazy because obviously Liz has been updating us this whole time. And it's crazy because I feel like Liz just got into Texas. So it's like crazy, like how fast it goes and like how much training they put the flight attendants through during like the short amount of time, kind of. So it's been really cool. It's been really cool, and I'm really excited to see Elizabeth graduate. I'm gonna have to take an American Airlines flight soon. But for what I've been up to since the last time we talked, I ended up seeing Jill and Kelsey for a quick little, dinner downtown. We ate at We ate at Elizabeth's family's restaurant. Super good. And let's just say Elizabeth's parents miss her so much. Elizabeth will be back in Kentucky for like a couple of days, pack and all that stuff. And I know her family is going to be so excited, and she's going to be spending every single moment with them because they just miss her so much. And it's just like so cute every time me and Kelsey have gone down there, and they're just like, oh, like Elizabeth, if only Elizabeth was here. But yeah, so it was nice to see Jill too, because I think I've seen Jill since literally when we went to Chicago in October. So
Well, actually, Kennedy, we saw her earlier this year, I think. We saw her for breakfast, brunch. I think it was this year. Yeah, 2026. So we did see her once.
yes, I forgot about that, but I think I might have blocked that day out for other reasons. But anyways, and then I feel like I'm really in my creative flow state recently with just, making my YouTube videos. And you guys, I'm gonna start writing on Substack, but but don't hold nothing to me. Like, it's just for fun. It's just another outlet because I really want to get better at writing. And now that school is over, wink, wink, I can like focus on that in my unemployment era while I am applying to jobs. And so, yeah, I'll have it linked down below. Maybe I'll send the link to Elizabeth. I'll figure out how to do that. But I just have one article out now. And again, it's not nothing serious. I'm going to write about numerous topic ideas, whatever I feel like. So go follow me on there if you want to. And then what you guys might have already guessed with what I've talked about, I got my master's. Whoop whoop. We are filming this on Sunday, May 10th, and I graduated from the University of Kentucky on May 8th. I still am like in that post-graduation bliss. I feel like just like still getting all the congratulations and all that stuff. I'm just like, wow, I can't believe it. Like now it's really time to like be out in the real world. And it's like, oh, like it truly means something when I'm applying to these jobs, because like this is like, my 9 to 5, this started my career. So that's really exciting. I love graduation because I finally got to meet some of my grad school friends. Well, only one, unfortunately, but I still feel like I gained so many like friends from this experience because I commented on this girl's post and I was like, so sad we didn't get to see each other. She was like, yeah, we need to do something. I'm like, girl, don't threaten me with a good time because I'll be in the group chat planning. But I had such a good graduation day. It's definitely a different graduation experience compared to when I graduated at Western Kentucky at a much, much smaller university. But yeah, just really cool. I remember when we went to Joe's graduation, they had like this one like bit towards the end where like they turn off the lights and it's like blue lights and like they throw confetti or whatever. I'm like, I cannot wait for that part. So that was my favorite part of the graduation. Kelsey was able to join me, so very grateful for her to make that drive down. A lot of family and friends showed up, so that was really cool. But I'm just so glad I have my master's now. I'm like, wow, can't believe it. I'm like, should I get my doctorate next? I don't know, maybe in the far, far future. But for now, I'm done with school. But I will maybe get into more of my thoughts on graduating and stuff in a future episode or on my Substack. But just know for now, I'm super, super, super excited, and I just feel really grateful and excited for the future.
Yes, so so exciting for Kennedy. She is a master's student, not student, master's graduate now. But with that, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get into our favorites of the week. And my favorite of the week is a good old disposable camera. Some of my friends here at training actually inspired me because they had disposable cameras. So I Amazoned some and I started taking pictures. I don't think I'm gonna finish obviously all the clicks, the little camera things, on the disposable, but I think I'm going to turn it into like my summer disposable too. So I'm so excited to take hopefully some pictures, obviously. And I'm putting it out here now. I want to get into scrapbooking. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Maybe it'll be a little summer hobby that I pick up. But I've just been really enjoying like disposable cameras. Something about like not being able to see the photo, it just like makes it more fun in the moment and like more, just in the moment overall. So that is my favorite of the week.
And I'm gonna call out Liz. She has this Wallows disposable camera. Yeah, go ahead and girl, get that finished or get those photos developed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I still have like 5 photos on that one. So I need to get it. I need to get on it. I need to get on it. I'm putting it out here, you guys. You guys can hold me accountable. I'm gonna get on it.
Y'all heard it here first. But my favorite of the week is, or are, because it's plural, I have two things, are first my news podcast. If you guys know, a couple weeks ago I said I really want to kind of branch out, and I've been listening to some Consider and PR or something like that, Up First, Code Switch, and I've been loving having those podcasts in rotation between like my like, what's the word, like just like not mentally stimulating podcast in the sense of like learning things new. Like it's just like girl talk podcast, which I love. But it's always good to be informed, and especially because I don't like really like to be as tuned in into the news in a sense, because it can be very overwhelming and stuff. But like I still need to be informed. So it's the perfect like couple minutes that give you a nice little overview of what's happening, the history, yada yada yada, without it consuming your day and all that stuff. So I would highly recommend those podcasts, and especially Code Switch, because they have some really good topics that I love hearing about. And then there's this girl that like recently just started posting on YouTube named Rain McNeil, and her videos are so good, you guys. And she just kind of like popped out of nowhere. Like she only has a couple videos out, but she's this girl. She lives in New York City and she works in book publishing. You guys, her vlogs are the coolest, and she makes like long vlogs too. And like one of her most recent ones was 50 minutes and not a single moment was boring. And she's like, I just love her because she's just like my dream, what I aspire to be, working in publishing and just, doing social media and stuff. And she has a coolest job ever. She works at Harper Collins, I believe. And the stuff she gets to do there is super cool. Like she gets to meet authors and stuff like that. So I would highly recommend, if you guys like that type of vibe, because she does get like a good amount of like work footage as well, but also how she balances work-life balance and all that stuff. And she's also wants to be a writer too, like she's writing a book. So I like seeing the behind the scenes of that as well. So highly recommend her. She is Perfect.
And then we're gonna go ahead and get into sports corner, you guys. So this past weekend was the Miami Grand Prix, which, if you didn't know, this is one of Kennedy's and I's favorite races because just something about the Miami atmosphere. I feel like it's almost like Monaco level of atmosphere, but like not classy. It's like Monaco, but the more like not classy, just kind of everybody's there, and it did not disappoint. So I'm gonna let Kennedy summarize the Grand Prix or like her thoughts for you guys.
Yes, and Miami is my personal favorite because it's like the first F1 race I ever watched live. So, and it has a special place in my heart, especially with it being Lando's first win. But you guys, I'm just gonna go into like the basic high level moments of it. But McLaren, we are so back. We know, and kind of like the beginning of the season, which this season's already a mess because it's like we're so early. Like it barely feels like the season's even really starting since like the whole war and stuff caused two races to be canceled. But I digress. But McLaren has been struggling, with the regulations. We didn't really know if McLaren would be competitive again, but oh boy, did they show out, especially with the sprint race. Oscar and Lando, I mean, they were up there and I was super excited. I was feeling very optimistic for them. I mean, they didn't walk away with a win, but very, very, very promising results. And it just makes me feel super good as a McLaren fan because, again, if you guys don't know, I'm a McLaren and Ferrari fan, but it's always like one of them is doing good and then the other one is like struggling a little bit. So I'm really torn. I feel like Charles kind of had a good weekend too, from what I can remember. But I feel like the main takeaway from the season is how Kimi Antonelli showed up and didn't come to play to F1. He has won now 3 races in a row, and that's actually insane. I love Kimmy, so I love this for him. But I can't help but wonder, like, I wonder how George is feeling. Comment down below. We'll probably clip this and put this on TikTok. But like, comment down below. How do you guys think George feels about Kimmy outperforming him? Because it is a little bit early. We know last year Kimmy struggled in the European leg, so I wonder if he will experience those same struggles this season, or if he's gonna be a little bit more sharper this year. And especially with there's always talks about George being replaced, Mercedes wanting Max Verstappen or someone else. So I don't know. I wonder how George is feeling. He may not feel anything because it's just so early, but I'm curious if they even have the same car. I know that's a bit of a discussion as well, but you guys know I also love George, so I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of George domination as well. But right now, it has been Kimmy's moment, and I love it.
What I would do to pay to know what is going on in George's head. I have seen so many like talks online about this, about how like George is always like kind of like in the shadows, like there's his teammate is always kind of like taking the spotlight, I guess, and then he finally had like his moment at the end of last season where he was number one, he was doing his thing for Mercedes, but now it's like roles have reversed. So I am very intrigued on the McLaren note. McLaren definitely showed out because this was the first race since the little like break that we had going on, and as we know, they were struggling to even get to the start line, and the fact that they were able to like make podium and everything, like place up there and everything, I think that speaks enough. They did their thing, they got to work over the break. So I feel like from here it's only up for all of these teams, hopefully, and I think it's gonna be very, very interesting, especially like Kennedy said, since we have 2 less races, that is 2 less races of points for them to get. So it's going to be a very interesting season, and we are back, you guys.
Yes, and my last little note is I think George, as long as he's consistent and fighting, maybe he can have a chance to, maybe beat Kimmy, catch up to Kimmy, but we shall see. But now we're gonna get into our pop culture. Low key, I feel like it's been kind of hard to condense it because I feel like there's so much me and Liz could talk about. But for today, we just have a couple topics for you guys. So first, this one is more selfishly for me that I want to talk about. But Olivia Rodrigo's SNL episode. Listen, I never watch SNL episodes live, but for my girl Olivia Rodrigo, I stayed up and watched it and I absolutely loved it. It's actually funny because my parents ended up watching that same episode too, but separately from me. And it was so good. I really loved it. I was introduced to Olivia Rodrigo as first an actor, singer second. So it's amazing to like see her back in that actor role. And like she is amazing in comedy. I loved a lot of the sketches. her singing Drop Dead live, amazing. And then the song, an unreleased song we don't know yet, that's going to be on the new album. She sang that. I think it's going to be called Begged. And see, people were hating. They're like, Drop Dead is they're basically mad she's happy. They're like, we missed the songs that are like sad. And Olivia heard that and said, well, look at this. And the lyrics were heartbreaking. And I think a lot of people are probably going to relate to that. And it makes me even more excited for this album to come out. But yeah, overall, I really loved the episode. The fact that they did an Alex Earl versus Alex Cooper sketch, I was like, yep, you guys ate that.
And that is one reason why I love SNL clips and sketches and everything, because they keep up with what is happening. And of course, like if anybody was going to do a sketch about this, it was going to be them. And Olivia being there, just her being like younger and everything, I feel like it just made so much sense and it was perfect. And then the next thing on our pop culture thing, I don't know if this was like the universe doing something. So we got Olivia Rodrigo, and now we got news about Joshua Bassett. So he released a new book, and basically, you guys, everyone owes him an apology. Just like his side of everything, of like, I truly feel so bad for him, just because Olivia, like, she ate him up with that album, and that truly like destroyed this man's career, because I feel like I haven't seen him in like anything. And I feel like what sucks is I knew Joshua Bassett before I knew Olivia Rodrigo, because I remember like before he blew up, I remember like seeing clips of him like singing songs and everything, like little clips here and there. And then it's just crazy seeing how like the tables turn and everything. I don't know, but yeah, I'll let Kennedy get into it more because she knows more than I do about this.
Yeah, you guys know I'm a Joshua Bassett defender till I die. And it's like, of course, I also love Olivia Rodrigo, but it's like, to me, I play because I was kind of old enough at the time when all this happened. It's like, I'm mature enough to know that you can like both of them without having to bash other people, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that like I wasn't in tune with the drama, but just like the way, like, it truly is a simple situation where Josh and Olivia were a thing, they ended it, and then he moved on, and Olivia had her feelings, which are valid. Everyone has those feelings when you have an ex move on. And then him, and like, I don't know, everything's valid, but I just feel like because so many people are young, they just don't understand it, and they just take it to bashing. And just like, he like, since then he has just like really come to terms with a lot of things, and has obviously had a lot happen to him, and some new emotions that have come up from like his childhood that he's has been working with now that he's older. And that's kind of what the whole book is about. Like, I know some people, they take little things out of context. Well, people in general just be lying, because I saw this one girl post. She was like, there's this Reddit posting that he literally talks about this in the book, and a girl stitched it and was like, no, like, I have the book. He literally does not talk about that out at all. And like, Rookie truly is about him, his feelings, overcoming not only that situation, but like so many other things in his life. And I kind of love to see the resurgence of people like loving Joshua Bassett. I mean, Set Me Free was a freaking bop. I mean, that wasn't about the situation, but so good. And I'm just kind of glad, like, that he can like hopefully feel the love and know that like people don't freaking hate your guts. But like, I can understand how like at his age when he's popping off, like all this stuff happens, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, fans are freaking crazy. And I'm glad to say I was never a hater and that I've always loved him. But it just makes me happy to see like all the people kind of rally around him.
Wish to see like him drop more music, just because like I love his voice, like his vocals. It reminds me so much of like the Shawn Mendes kind of vibe, especially when he does like the acoustic stuff. So I would hope that with this new book and everything, and like him seeing like the support and everything, maybe he starts releasing some new songs here and there. And then our next little pop culture thing, it is the Met Gala, you guys. And this Met Gala, honestly, I have mixed opinions, because I feel like the outfits, when you saw them, at least for me personally, when I saw them on their own, I was like a little confused on some of them. And some of them I was like, what is going on here? I feel like this doesn't have to do with the theme. But then if you would see like side by side the outfit with like whatever art piece it was inspired with, I feel like for the most part, most of them were pretty on point. Don't get me wrong, there was some like Doja Cat where I was like, girl, what are you wearing? But her outfit did match her art. It was just a choice. But honestly, I feel like overall, I really like the outfits for this year's Met Gala. I don't know if that's just me. I haven't really seen too much discourse about it, but I feel like people actually like followed the theme, which I feel like in years past with the Met Gala, it's always like nobody's following the theme. They're just showing up in tuxes. And I feel like people kind of like didn't do that too much this year.
Yes, the Met Gala, I was like kind of tuned in. I was like keeping up with all my pop culture Instagram pages and TikToks and all of that. I don't know, I kind of have mixed opinions because I feel like usually I don't know. I was listening to Giggly Squad earlier, and Paige DeSorbo was like, honestly, she was like, honestly, I think most people looked a mess, and like I kind of agree with that. I don't know. It's weird because there's like a couple standout people that I'm like, oh, this ate. Like I love Lisa from Blackpink's outfit. I love Beyonce's. I love SZA's. And there's a whole bunch of others that I can't think of right now. But then a lot of people, it's like I feel like they kept it a little too simple. Like it looked good, but I feel like your costume, I like your outfit should be more expressive of the art or more reflective of the art. Like we shouldn't need to see a side by side comparison to like understand your outfit, if that makes sense. Like I feel like some were just kind of like girl, like it I don't know, it didn't hit for me, I will say. But yeah, so I've kind of mixed opinions. There's a lot that I love, but there's also some I was like, girl, give us nothing. And oh my god, I was really shook because I saw Finn Wolfhard was there, so that was like a good surprise. Kelsey sent it to me. I was like, wow, I had no idea he was invited. I saw Maya Hawke's outfit was really um cute as well. But yeah, those are honestly my big thoughts about the Met Gala. I'm like, this happened so long ago. I feel like I can't even remember. But yeah, that's all my thoughts, honestly. I know a lot of people skipped it this year and then just went to the after party, which I know is a lot of controversy happening, but I don't think those two things are connected. Question mark, question mark. I know the Met Gala was like mainly sponsored by like the Bezos, and then I think Saint Laurent or something like that did the after party, but I don't know how all of that works.
My only last thought is I don't know if this is me, but I feel like the Met Gala is dying. I feel like nobody really pays attention to it anymore. I don't know. I feel like I completely forgot that it was even happening until I started getting like clips on TikTok of like people's outfits. And I was like, wait, this hadn't happened already? I don't know. I don't know if that was just like me personally, but I feel like it's low key dying because I don't know. Like, I feel like year after year, the theme is like kind of like weird. I mean, it's always weird. It's known for being weird. And then like the outfits don't hit or like they do hit. So I feel like it's just like before we know it, you guys, there is gonna be no Met Gala, or they're gonna have to like revamp it and like do something else with it.
I think it needs a revamp. We're gonna get into what we've been watching. So honestly, not much, but I am all caught up and finished Real Housewives of Rhode Island, which honestly I was not gonna watch, but social media convinced me. They said this is literally one of the best. It reminds them of OG New Jersey. And you guys, it is so good. I literally binged it in like a couple of days, and they release episodes every like Sunday, Monday, something like that. But just know that I'm caught up and I'm super excited. I love Alicia. I think she's my fave. She is just like her obsession with dolls. I love because I'm like, that's gonna be me. Well, maybe not to that extent, but like if I have kids or whatever and one of them's a girl and wants to play with dolls, or even if it's a boy, I would just like buy them all the dolls so I can like live through them. But I really love it. They're a really funny group of ladies. You can tell they're very early in reality TV, so they're very open with their lives and they really don't like BS with each other. It's very straight up, which I love. So if you love reality TV and like housewives and all that type of stuff, I would totally recommend this show.
And then for me, I finished watching Tell Me Lies. You guys, if you haven't watched it, cough, 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 Kennedy, I think you would love it. KT, you need to get on it. Wow, you guys, that ending, I like remember watching, like specifically like Sarah Crowley, like I was watching like her vlogs when she was watching it come out. And I remember her being like, that ending was like kind of crazy and everything. And that ending was crazy, you guys, because just seeing it come full circle, like the way it ended, I did not expect that at all. Low key, one part of the ending, I was kind of like, I don't like this. But I will say, like, everything else, I was like, that's crazy. Like, the big plot twist, I did not see it coming at all. I never would have imagined that. And wow, I can't believe I finished it, you guys. It was actually really good. Yeah, wow. KT, get on it.
Okay, I might just have to start it, you guys. I have all the time in the world. So yeah, now we're gonna get into song of the week. So my song of the week is a classic, and the title is New Classic by Drew Seeley and Selena Gomez from Another Cinderella Story. Cinderella story. You guys, I haven't podcasted in a while. I feel rusty. But yeah, I like this part specifically because just like the background vocals of it all, you'll hear it. Just so good. I need to rewatch that movie soon.
Such a good song, and truly it is a classic. And then my song of the week for you guys is The Waiting Game by Harry Styles from his newest album, and here's my favorite part. And yeah, that is my song of the week. And without further ado, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic of our episode, which is our values. So like Kennedy said, she got this inspo from the What We Said podcast. So basically we took a quiz on this website that we're going to link down below for you guys, but it's called thevaluesbridge.com, and they have a free version and then a version that you pay for. And we did the free version, and we're basically going to go through our results with you guys, our like summary of our core values, everything about that, and just break it down. It was actually really interesting, I feel like. So the quiz, it's really quick, maybe like, well, not super quick, maybe like a good 20 minutes if you really like sit down and take your time with it. You take one quiz of like your ideal perfect life, like if everything was perfect, what is it that is important to you? What is it that is not important to you? And then you take one quiz, which is like your life, like currently right now. And I guess it like sees the correlations between like your perfect life and then what it is that you're doing currently in present time. So we're just going to run through it, break down our summary for you guys, and find out a little bit more, a little bit of a deeper episode. So prepare for the yapping, you guys, as always.
Yes, and my one little note, I love this quiz because it's like it goes even deeper than like a personality quiz because it truly like asks you like really interesting questions, and I made sure to answer as truthfully as honest, and it really like opened my eyes up a lot. But yeah, like Liz said, we will have them linked down below, and I would highly recommend listening to the What We Said episode where they had the founder of this quiz on because she's a really interesting lady. But we're going to go through our summary, and first we're going to talk about our core values. So they will have 16 in total, and they will tell you the ones you hold deeply. But since we have the free version, we'll just tell you guys our top 4 values.
So like Kennedy said, we're just going to go break down our top 4. So I'm going to go from number 1 all the way to 4 for you guys. So my first value was voice. My second one was achievement. My third one was a word that I've never heard before, eudaimonia, EUDEMONIA. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee. And then my last one was cosmos.
Wow, I am shook. Okay, and you'll figure it out why. But my first one was scope. My second was agency. My third was eudaimonia. And my fourth was affluence. So I think that's really interesting that me and Liz both have 3 being eudaimonia.
I don't know, you guys. I've never heard this word before, but I think it's really interesting because just by like the names of the core values, I thought it was going to be like, stuff more basic like spiritual or like, I don't know, like family, friends, like, like that kind of like the basic stuff, but I feel like it's getting like a little deeper, so I think it's gonna be really interesting to go through it.
So me and Liz are gonna go through our top 4, briefly explain them, and then tell you what it means to us. So first, mine was scope, which means scope is all about the scale, breadth, depth, and complexity of the life you want to lead. It reflects your appetite for variety, adventure, risk, newness, relationships, learning, and even the unknown, or conversely, your preference for stability, routine, and an environment and relationships that feel fully under control. Neither end of the oh my god, I cannot do anything today. Neither end of the spectrum is better or worse. Your scope ranking simply represents what kind of life feels right and authentic to you. So their description for agency is: consider the MBA graduate who spent 3 months in an intensive career analysis and planning program only to walk away with one conclusion: none of this matters. I don't care what I do. It's all the same to me. The industry, the company, even the country don't matter. I only care about one thing. No one tells me what to do. So basically it's about people who seek self-determination. And then eudaimonia, which I was really kind of shocked that I got this, but it says eudaimonia at its essence isn't about indulgence, although it can be. It's about prioritizing experience, moments, and activities that bring good spirits. And it says eudaimonia is the value that reflects your answer to the question, how much do I want my life to be organized around experiences that bring me pleasure and joy? For some, the feelings that come with fun and happiness are something to be scheduled later after the work is done, the goals are reached, or the responsibilities are met. For others, the pursuit of enjoyment is the point, the reason to get up in the morning, and the guiding force behind their choices around work, family, and life. Eudaimonia captures where you fall on that spectrum. And then my fourth was affluence, which I was actually surprised about, but it says few people outright reject financial security. Almost everyone wants enough money to cover the basics, but beyond that, the value that people place on affluence can vary widely. At one end of the spectrum are those deeply motivated by wealth acclamation. They want to be extremely rich, so wealthy that no desire is out of reach. Towards the middle are those who see money as a means to end, not seeking vast wealth, but enough to support the life they want, whether that means travel, education, or a comfortable home. They seek what might be called measured abundance. At the opposite end of the affluence continuum are those for whom money is a necessity, not a goal. They care little about accumulating wealth and may even view the pursuit of money as misguided, unappealing, or wrong. They seek it for themselves only to live simply. So, what I got from all that is it feels pretty accurate, but I didn't realize I cared about some of those things as much. Especially the affluence one. At first, I was like, I've heard people on the podcast that have taken this, like talk about it, and I was like, yeah, like I do like really care, like I really want to be successful and like have money and all that stuff. I didn't truly realize like, oh, like girl, that is like one of my driving values, that like I kind of in a way care about quote unquote fame, money. Like it is like it's money is not a means to an end. Like I guess a part of me does want kind of like what they say fu money, where you just have so much money that it's kind of like, wow, can't believe you make that much money. So I thought that was interesting because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't necessarily put myself as that. And then eudaimonia, now that I know what it means, I'm like, okay, yeah, that one thing about me I've always said is I always want fun. I want life to be fun, no matter what, which might be kind of a bit of a privileged take. But I mean, that's my life. That's how I live. And I feel like it makes sense that me and Liz have that in common, because I feel like we both kind of live that way. We don't care if the work's done. We want to have fun now. So I really like that kind of description. Agency, I'm like, I'm actually surprised on how much I value that, honestly, because I feel like I'm very like collaborative. I don't like being the one in charge, but I do heavily I've always been like, I don't like when people tell me what to do, but I didn't realize again that that would be like a top value of mine, which kind of makes me like rethink things. And especially being like a business student, I feel like collaboration is like a very big part of like what they teach us, how we work with all the group projects and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was interesting that agency was top. And then scope, I'm still kind of like, sure. I'm a, I don't know. I feel like this was honestly, not to spoil, one of my big authenticity gaps, because like this is stuff that I crave, but that's not necessarily my life right now. Like my life isn't necessarily exciting every day and all that stuff, but it obviously, this is very important to me to some extent based on this quiz.
Okay, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and read my four now for you guys, a little quick little description, and kind of like summarize what it says for you guys. So, like I said, for my first one, I had voice, and it says, we all have inner lives full of individuality, but how much of that individuality we reveal to the world is up to us. Voice is the value that measures that deeply personal choice. It reflects your desire or lack thereof to be seen and known for who you truly are, whether through your words, appearance, work, creativity, or lifestyle. Voice is about how much authenticity you feel compelled to express and how much you want the world to see it. And then my next one, I had achievement. So for the what is, it says achievement reflects how much you seek visible success, with visible being key. It's not just about doing well, it's about being recognized for doing well. You want to be seen as one of the best, whether as a CEO or a nurse or a stay-at-home parent or the town pickleball champion. That's funny. While high achievement is a common among elite athletes and business leaders, it also drives chefs, yogis, artists, and gardeners. It's not about what you do, it's about how much you strive to excel and how much you desire acknowledgement for that excellence. And then my next one was the eudaimonia one, but I'm not gonna, since Kennedy read like what it is, I'm gonna read a little bit about what it means specifically as a core value. So it says on here that there's often a moment of hesitation when people learn eudaimonian is a core value. It can sound like this: am I the only one who wants a life centered around enjoyment and flourishing? I can't be. You aren't. While there are generational and cultural influences on how eudaimonian is perceived, the desire for a joy filled life is widespread in aspiration, even if rare in actualization. Many people hold eudaimonian as a core value, but few are living it as fully as they would like. And then my last one was cosmos, and it says, sometimes called the quote unquote God value, cosmos reflects how much you seek a life guided by the tenets of your religion or belief system. Those with cosmos as a core value may or may not attend religious services, pray daily, or study sacred texts, but they hold an ardent and authentic desire to center their lives around their God. They seek lives where their faith shapes their views on people and events, moral decisions, and daily actions, and they find peace in surrendering some or all of their self determination to a higher power they believe is greater than themselves. So overall, you guys, I was a bit surprised with mine too. Like Kennedy said, I went in this and like when I was answering, I didn't even think twice. Whatever my mind to went to on the rankings, that was what I went with. And I feel like honestly, I'm surprised by all of mine. I feel like I don't know. I feel like reading it a little bit more, I'm like I did think that I tended to like, I guess, like have that value, but I didn't realize I had it in that way. So for example, like the achievement, I am someone who like I feel like I expect a lot about myself, to like achieve things, but I didn't realize the like achievement that I want like that, or at least were like the things I was talking about other people to recognize it, because I feel like I tend to see myself as someone who likes to be like more like behind the scenes incognito, but seeing that part, I'm like, wait, maybe like low key, I do like that a little bit, but I don't like the spotlight fully on me. I don't know. And even like the eudaimonian one, I feel like I'm saying that word so different each time I say it, first of all. But for that one too, I feel like that one, like obviously I've always known like I don't want to live to work. Oh no. Yeah, is that what it is? I don't want to live to work. I want to work to live. Yeah, I know that I want that, but I didn't realize, like how much that was important to me, I guess, like more like valuing doing stuff and having experiences over just like working and not doing anything, and even the voice one too. I don't know, I feel like all of mine kind of surprised me a little bit. I think the one that didn't surprise me the most was the cosmos one, because I do like I have like my faith and everything, and I do like kind of center that, like in things that I do in relation to like things I do kind of like put it in perspective when it comes to that. So that one was the one that didn't surprise me too much, but I feel like the other ones I was like I've known that it's a part of me kind of, but I didn't realize like how much of a part of me it can like be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love how this quiz, it kind of makes you realize like, oh wait, this actually like, this actually is something I value. But like as someone who's friends with Elizabeth, I definitely like the Cosmo ones. When you said that, I was like, yep, that's definitely Elizabeth. And honestly, I would think that the achievement one would be higher for you. I would think that, like, when you were reading, I was like, oh, I'm surprised it's like not number one, because I feel like I've always known you as like a achievement person. Like, you're just always like, I don't know, you're just always just so smart and just so motivated and stuff like that. But yeah, and as I was listening to the podcast episodes, I mean, I'm sure this is in your top like 10 or whatever. Obviously we can only see four, but I was like, oh, like I feel like Elizabeth is gonna get like one of the family values, because I know you really hold family centered, like centered to your life. So I feel like if you unlock the full like paid version, it'll probably be like number 5, 6 or something. But yeah, that's like before we even did this episode, I was like, I bet like that's gonna be in Elizabeth's top four. So I'm kind of surprised it wasn't, but I'm sure it's up there.
No, because now I'm like so intrigued, and you guys don't be surprised if we do a part two and we pay for the other stuff to unlock them, because it's actually really interesting to see like the values that you have that like you, because I feel like when we think of values, like I was saying earlier, it feels like those like basic values, and you don't think too much of like these other ones. And I feel like most of the time it's these other ones that are like the big umbrella, and the little basic ones like fall underneath of them. And like Kenny was saying about how like mine like makes sense, I truly, Kennedy's makes so much sense too. Like, I don't know, like just her personality and anything, it just like makes sense the values that we have, like how they like drive just everything about us, like our humor, the things that we do, and like things that we enjoy. It just like it really makes sense on a whole other level. So the next little part on here on the by the way, if you guys are doing this too, this is all under the summary tab. So then we're just like going down on what it is that it says on here. But the next part that it has on here is the authenticity gap. So it basically gives us a score on our authenticity gap, kind of comparing, like I said, that ideal life to our like current life and everything. And it says on here just like a little like brief overview of authenticity gap. It says our lives shape who we want to be, how we choose to live, and the impact we hope to leave on the world. Living them fully is a journey. How close are you? So I guess like how authentic are you to your values and all of that.
And it also says that low variance suggests your current life is closely aligned with your ideal values. So, like, the goal of this is like you want your authenticity gap number to be as low as possible.
And I'll give you guys my little value, my gap or whatever it is, and then I'll read you guys a little bit. And it does go from 0 to 100. So there is 5 different like groupings. So like the most authentic you can be is transcendent. Then it goes the thresholder, approacher, dissonant, and then incongruent. So I scored a 31, which put me at the third little level, between like the third one and the fourth one actually. But I'm between the approacher and the dissonant, but it scored me more towards approacher. So it says on there, it says where you stand as an approacher, you're getting closer to living in full alignment with your values, but there are still noticeable gaps between where you are and where you want to be. Unlike thresholders who are making final refinements, you may still be navigating key mismatches that create tension in your daily life. These gaps might come from external circumstances like a career, relationship, or routine that doesn't quite reflect your values, or from internal hesitations that make change feel daunting. The good news, you're not far. You've already done some of the work to understand what matters most to you, and the distance between your current life and your ideal one isn't inmonstrable. I think I said that word wrong. But anyways, now is the time for deeper reflection. Where do you feel the most dissonance? What specific areas of your life feel off? Getting clear on this will be key to moving forward. And honestly, I feel like I'm not that surprised. I feel like especially the part where it was talking about the parts where there may be like those like gaps about like career, relationship, routine. I'm like, wait, that kind of makes sense. I feel like, because I feel like I'm currently like in that like transitionary period of my life where I'm still like adjusting and like making, I feel like I'm in a point where I'm making decisions, and like the things I'm doing are going to are I don't know how to word it, but I think the things that I'm doing right now is putting me on the path to where I want to be in an ideal world. So I feel like I'm like making those like baby steps and everything. So I feel like it makes sense to be in that like kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like a limbo phase is kind of like the vibes that I got from it. But I wasn't too surprised about this one overall, I feel like.
So now for my gap, which I think this is the part of the quiz that like truly like shook me to my core. I honestly low key thought I was gonna get a pretty low score, not gonna lie, but my score was a 46 out of 100. So that means I am more so a dissonant, whatever. That's what they gave me. And they said what this means is that you're likely feeling a deep sense of misalignment, whether in your career, relationships, daily routines, or all of the above. Unlike thresholders and approachers who are fine tuning their values, you're still navigating significant disconnects that may be creating stress, dissatisfaction, or a lingering sense that something isn't quite right. One or two of your core values may be in direct conflict with how you're living, or you may find that nearly all your values are misaligned to some degree. This is not a crisis, but it is a call to pay attention. Your values are clear, but your life doesn't fully reflect them yet. The good news, awareness is the first step. By recognizing where the biggest gap exists, you can start making intentional changes that bring you closer to the life you truly want. And when I got this, I was like, boom. You guys literally explained everything I have been feeling the past couple of years. It's like exactly what kind of like how the quiz is set up, where it's like all the things in your dream life. There's like, so in my mind, I'm just like, my dream life is this and this and this, but that's not my life right now. And I've always just felt off about that. And it's always made me upset that like I feel like I can't enjoy the future moment. Cause like this says, it is kind of giving me stress because I'm like, my life isn't reflecting how I want to live right now. Not for like a bad way, but it's like, I'm a student. I've been getting out of school. Like I've been very focused on little things, and I mean, obviously, like goals take time and stuff. So I'm like figuring things out is essentially what I'm getting from this. And yeah, I just need to like keep going towards my goals, I guess, is the next step, to like continue closing that gap. And I feel like that's kind of it lines up with how I naturally have wanted to move about, with like my yearly goals and stuff. Like there's so many things that I'd be like, I want to do this, this, and this, and I feel like this is the year where I'm like, I'm tired of talking. I'm gonna start doing. So I feel like the more maybe that I take this quiz or something, my gap will get lower and lower. But yeah, when I got this information, I was like, everything makes sense. You guys put put my feelings into words and explain to me why I'm feeling this way.
Yes, like Kenny said, I feel like it honestly gave me like some ease. I felt like low key like something had been lifted from my shoulder, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is putting into words like I feel like the things that I have in my head and like the constant like thoughts and everything, even with like the values and everything, you know. I think it really did put everything into words, and I think it would I keep on saying thank you guys. That's my new like. But this would be really cool to see in a future like taking this maybe like every year or like every 2 years, you know, even low key like if you've gone through a period where you've done a lot of different things every 6 months, it would be cool to see if it like changes, and just like over time if your values also might change. I think that would be really really cool to see too.
Yes. And then next, we're going to get into our top conflicts. I know there's multiple different conflicts, but it just shows us like one for the summary for the free version. But it also does tell me I have two more conflicts. So maybe in a future, like part two episode, we can get into that. But essentially, this section says when values come into conflict with each other, you know it. Decisions can feel harder, relationships can fracture, the future can feel uncertain. One powerful way forward is to identify each conflict, understand its source, and strategize its resolution. So for me, it seems like my top conflict was between core affluence and peripheral work centrism. And it says my conflict score is 88. And I'll just read the first like sentence for both of these and then kind of explain the vibe because it kind of says the same thing. But it says high affluence, almost escapably requires work, sustained focus, and demanding work, whether through climbing the corporate ladder, building a business, or mastering a skill that commands high earnings. Wealth accumulation typically comes from long hours and relentless effort. But low work centrism signals a very different priority for you. It reflects a deep desire for keeping work in its place. The conflict is stark. Wealth demands devotion, but low work centrism resists making work the focal point of life. While the idea of rich without work is an alluring fantasy, for most people, these two odds are fundamentally at odds, which I'm like, yeah, that makes complete sense with me being like, oh, I just want fun all the time. But then, like, girl, what do I look like? I don't want to say putting in work because, like, I think I am a hard worker to an extent, but I am definitely not one of those people, like we've discussed earlier, that lives to work. I work to live. So I can definitely, like, that makes so much sense why I kind of feel like a conflict there where it's like, ugh, I want all these things because obviously affluence, having wealth is seemingly very important for me, but obviously that comes with a lot of work. And so for me, I think moving forward is I'm going to have to kind of figure out like my sacrifices. Where am I willing to sacrifice fun? Where am I willing to sacrifice work? Like, and how to balance those two things. I think basically, yeah, it says if a traditional, or they have a section called Bridging the Gap, but they said if traditional work is unappealing, alternative paths exist, such as investing, real estate, things such as that. And then it says another reproach is redefining success, which I definitely is probably the one that'll be most um helpful for me because success for me is a very specific thing. But I'm like, maybe that can change a bit. I don't know.
And then for mine, my score, I'll tell you guys my score first. My conflict score was 92, which I feel like is kind of high. And then my two values that are in conflict is my core achievement and my core, they just really want me to learn how to say this word, you guys, eudaimonia. So then for explaining the divide, it says core achievement and core eudaimonia are like opposing forces, each pulling in a different direction. Achievement demands relentless focus, long hours, and unyielding drive to be the best. Success isn't won by accident or luck. Eudaimonia, on the other hand, seeks a life centered on joy, self-care, and the freedom to savor life's pleasures. The conflict, achievement consumes time and energy, leaving little room for the spontaneity, ease, and availability that eudaimonia thrives on. And then for bridging the gap, it says resolving this conflict is rarely straightforward as it often requires deprioritizing one value to honor the other. Only if you're exceptionally skilled, so proficient that your work feels effortless, might you seamlessly integrate both. That's why a more practical approach is sequencing, dedicating different seasons of life to each value in turn. You might want to spend a few years laser focused on achievement, then shift to a period fully immersed in eudaimonia's joy. And yeah, I feel like that honestly makes so much sense. Just like the like Kenny said, like that conflict, and I guess like yeah, that conflict between working to live and living to work. That's basically what I feel like I am taking away from mine. And honestly, I'm not too stressed about it because I feel like where I'm starting this like new phase of my life and everything, maybe hopefully that like resolves a little bit. But honestly, where it also says like most people just like choose one over the other. So it was saying how basically like some people work and they do the achievement and then they do the eudaimonian. Honestly, low key, if I have to choose one or the other though long term, I would rather choose the eudaimonian just because I feel like that is what's truly going to bring me more happiness than the achievement is. I feel like the achievement is only like short term and the other one is more long term. Just what it was talking about, like the eudaimonia being centered on like joy, self-care, like pleasures. I feel like that's the stuff that truly makes you smile and not so much the achievement, which is more like short-lived in the moment. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to like hopefully balance them together in some way. And I feel like when you find, at least from what I took away from it, but when you find that like job that doesn't feel like work anymore, I feel like is when you kind of like mesh the two together more. So yeah, but it makes sense to me. I'm like, oh, like that makes sense, like at least it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how we essentially had the same conflicts, but like in two different ways.
Yes, I thought that was really cool because honestly, like on their own, they sounded like at least like the achievement versus I forgot the exact name of yours, but the difference between them, it feels like like they have nothing to do with each other. But listening to the conflict, it's basically the same conflict between both of us.
And then our last bit we're going to talk about are our top harmonies. So they describe this as our lives and relationships at work and at home tend to go much more smoothly when our values are in sync. We can amplify that effect when we have a clear understanding of which of our values align and why. And it's telling me I have 6 more harmonies than the one they provided me, but we'll just talk about one today. My harmony score was a 97, so that's really good. I guess that means I'm really living this authentically, I guess. But my top harmonies were between peripheral achievement, so same as my last, and core eudaimonia. And the summary of this was a pairing where each value represents a priority for present fulfillment over long term striving. Your relatively lower achievement reflects a limited desire for external success, competition, or delayed gratification in pursuit of milestones. At the same time, your higher eudaimonia emphasizes living in the moment, embracing enjoyment, and pursuing personal well being without the burden of rigorous effort or sacrifice. Without the tension of needing to build toward professional or competitive goals, this pairing allows you to focus on experiences that bring immediate satisfaction free from the pressures of external validation or long term achievements. And I'm like, yeah, that feels pretty accurate to me. I feel like, yeah, I feel like in the past I've joked about like, oh, like I need like academic validation, but like truly, I feel like, I don't know, I know a lot of people pursue validation from a lot of external sources, whether that's academically, from other people, work, yada, yada, yada. But I feel like, yeah, now that I think about it, I feel like I've grown more confident over myself. And truly, I just, like, outside, like, I don't need outside validation, to be honest. Like, truly, what fuels me is what makes me feel great, what gives me, that quick satisfaction, what makes me happy. And yeah, I definitely agree with this. Like, I don't necessarily strive for like these big milestone achievements. Like, I don't necessarily want to be like the top of the corporate ladder, be a CEO or something. I just, want things in my life that fulfill me and bring me satisfaction and joy.
And then for my two harmonies, I actually got one that I think is part of the locked, like it's not my top four. But my overall summary score for harmony was an 85, and then my top two values were core eudaimonian. That one, apparently that one's all about me. And then the other one that wasn't part of my top four is peripheral belovedness. So I'm just gonna read you guys like the sentence that describes it since we didn't do that before. But it says, belovedness reflects how deeply you value a romantic partnership as central organizing force in your life. For those in belovedness, the love, commitment, and shared life with a partner is not just important, it's the anchor around which everything else turns. Which I'll get into in a moment. But then the overall summary, it says, when you have core eudaimonia and peripheral belovedness, your focus is on personal well-being, self-care, and activities that make you feel fulfilled, with a romantic relationship playing a smaller role. This allows you to invest in your own happiness without feeling pressured to center every decision around a partner. The pairing works best when your relationship supports your pursuit of joy and flourishing, fitting naturally into life built around personal enrichment. And I feel like that summary is literally me in a bomb in a nutshell, you guys. I feel like I've talked about this before when we did our recent episode about like our like things we won't settle for and everything. And this, I feel like it goes with that, about how I said I want to have like my own stuff, without being like pressured to center every decision around a partner. I feel like that is truly me, like as a person overall. And I just think it's funny that I have like the peripheral belovedness, but like here I am. So I'm gonna take this as also like you, my like friendships, my like, they're not romantic, but I feel like there is like a romantic feeling of like love and care for one another. So that's what I'm going to base them on, because if you know, you know. But yeah, that was my little harmony score for you guys.
Yes, I think that's like so funny that you got the belovedness because Liz is just a big lover girl. She loves the rom-coms and all that stuff. She loves her romance. So I'm like, of course Elizabeth would get this one.
No, like reading it, I'm like, this makes sense. Like, of course, it wasn't in my top four. It's probably number five.
But yeah, that's all we have for you guys today. There is like a part where like you can connect with friends. So me and Elizabeth need to figure that out. So maybe we can do like a part two, invest in the paid version for you guys and like compare ourselves and like really unlock the full potential. But yeah, I'm super excited we decided to do this. Thank you, What We Said, for introducing me to this quiz, because it truly is like very eye-opening, and I think everyone should do this no matter your age, gender, whatever. And shout out Susie Welch for creating this awesome quiz.
Yes, what Kennedy said. And if you guys made it this far into the episode, comment down below an emoji that you think describes your number one value. Whatever you think it is, comment down an emoji that describes that. As always, you guys, we're going to link down below in the show notes the links to take this quiz yourself. And also, we're going to link down the What We Said episode so you guys can go and listen to that as well and get a little bit more insight into this little, not survey, this little, I don't know, quiz. I don't know the words, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you guys are following us on all of our socials, TikTok, Instagram, they're all linked down below, and subscribe on YouTube and Apple and Spotify, whatever platform you listen on. And without further ado, you guys, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.